She's a worship leader and music minister that's been touching hearts all over the world. Glowreeyah Braimah joins us to talk about her latest project and the meaning behind one of her greatest hits, Miracle Worker. Glowreeyah, it's good to have you in the...
It's great to be here in Glowreeyah.
And I have to say, my baby's in the studio. My baby sister is in the studio.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
You know, there's something that I find most unusual about you. Okay. There's something about you and timing. Because I remember a year you were in London visiting the radio station. Yeah. And it just happened that Matt Redman was coming to see me at the same time. Exactly. And it just happened that hours before you had been singing Matt's song and thinking, oh, I'd love to meet him. Yes. And I just happened, without telling me, I just happened to go in the studio and say to Matt, come out, there's someone I want you to meet. Exactly. And then you meet him. Exactly. And it was like, oh my God. And then this moment we're here, it just happened that I'm thinking, we're looking for guests, and I'm thinking, ooh, and I just happened to make a call, and you were on the other end of the call. That's right. And here we are in Turning Point. Exactly. What are some of the secrets of some of the things you do in your life, everyday things with God that allows him these opportunities? Because I know your life is full of a lot of these, what seems to be coincidences, but they're massive moments for you. Massive, because God is still in the ordinary. Mm-hmm. He uses the ordinary, he uses the everyday things to reveal his massiveness. It's in the ordinary things, like you said. I walk into the studio just for an interview and I meet Matt Redman. He's in the little as much as he's in the large. Right. So you say ordinary, but you have, for most people, they don't know the story behind Miracle Work, which I'd love to hear, because you arrive in Virginia Beach, you're checking into your hotel, the woman serving you at the hotel says, aren't you that woman singing the song Miracle Worker all the way in a different continent? Exactly. Tell, for those who don't know, quickly a story about Miracle Worker, how that song came about. My 2-year-old niece, she was in a coma. My sister called me, screaming on the phone, Glowreeyah, pray, pray, pray. Something is going on. I can't explain what's going on. And she slipped into a coma because she went for a minor surgery. And I lay flat on the floor. I couldn't bring myself to kneel because the weight of the burden of what I felt was too much. So I lay down flat on the floor. I was a blubbering mess. I was shaking like a leaf. And I was like, oh, Lord, just heal, help, heal. And I heard a voice whisper to me in this ear, this very ear, Miracle Worker, Miracle Worker. And I knew I was having an encounter. And I brought my phone out and I recorded it, and it lasted for 8 minutes and 2 seconds. Wow. And I heard the song, and I started to pray what I heard about the song. Come and do a miracle. Come and help. Her name is Feifei, my Feifei today. And I kept singing the song. And I left that floor empowered. I knew something had happened to me. And so my niece was in a coma for about 2.5, 3 weeks. And I just kept singing the song. And I made a promise to the Lord. I said, if you heal my niece, I promise you I'll go around the world and I'll tell everybody that you're a good God, that you're a healing God. And the Lord spoke to me and said, if you do this one thing, Glowreeyah, this one thing, watch and see what I will do. So you've gone around the world, but beyond that, the song itself has gone around the world many times over. As we saw with you coming here, and the person at the hotel who you never would have met, you know, knows you and knows the song. What are some of the testimonies you've heard about the song that's really encouraged you to keep going? Because a lot of people see you, they'll see your beautiful dress, beautiful hair, think, oh, I wish I was Glowreeyah, but they don't know the adversity that goes with the journey. But what are some of the things, the testimonies that you've heard, both from Miracle Worker and some of the other songs that's made you think, wow, this is why I do this job, this is why I travel like I do? For me, it started off as just being a young adult, you know, in my local church back home, House on the Rock. But through those years of being in the background, of being, you know, hidden, I was a rejected person. My family had rejected me, thrown me out for being a believer. So for many years, I was persecuted for bearing this name, for being born again. And I never knew I would see the day that I would sit here to talk about God this way. I say the resurrected King has resurrected me, because there was depression, there was suicide, there was persecution, there was all sorts of things. And I never knew that God would use me, or that he would use my voice, or use what he put on the inside of me to reveal his power. So on the backdrop of that,
That's my personal life in a nutshell, because there's just so much, happening there. But for Miracle Worker, I believe the Lord used it to also show me his great power. That even though you're down in the pit, even though you're in a pit, in despair, I can lift you up, and I can lift my name through all that has surrounded you in your whole stories. I've heard of healings. I've heard of people in comas too. Playing the song and getting their healings. I've heard of children telling their doctors, before you give me that jab, I want to hear Miracle Worker.
Wow.
I've heard of babies who just get to sleep, use the song as a lullaby. They don't want to hear any other song. They just want that song, and the parents are playing the song in the background and they get to sleep. I've heard of some crazy situation back at home. Somebody was kidnapped. Yes. And she was in a pit. They put her in a pit, and there were other people in the pit. As gory as the story is, she started singing the song. And a madman in the pit said, "What are you singing? Miracle Worker? You'll get a miracle today."
Wow.
Yes, you get a miracle today. And the madman, crazy man, he found a way out of that pit and made them all escape from that, that pit. And the lady gave a testimony in her church. There's so many testimonies. It's so humbling to see what God has done. I thought if I were to do chronicles of it all, it would take a whole year.
Now you've got a new project you're working on,
Yes.
which hopefully will culminate in the new album. But
yes,
we're still going to have you change the Miracle Worker for a few years yet. But for you, for someone watching who's going through where you were many years ago, depression, rejection,
That's
and
right.
all the other things, and they find it really difficult to see the light at the end of the tunnel. How can they make use of the power of music for songs like yours to come out of that? Is it just putting the song on and singing it along, or is it turning on YouTube, or how can I best make use of what Glowreeyah has to help me see the light at the end of a tunnel?
Glowreeyah is no different from anybody out there. The only thing I can say that has made a difference in my life is the grace and the power of God, and just allowing myself to see him through everything and every way in everything I've been through. So the grace of God is available, not just to me, but to everybody watching.
Right.
Jesus is here. Open Heavens, Covenant Keeper. All these songs came from very personal places, deep places, issues of life that, inspired these songs. For me, it wasn't just about going to the studio to just go and, get a beat and get something going on. It comes from everyday experiences, overcoming trials, tribulations, and standing still in spite of that. And the grace of God is definitely available for anyone who's watching, anyone who believes that God is going to do something great in their lives.
One final question that I hope you can answer for me in 20 seconds. We want our worship team to write songs like Miracle Worker, Open Heavens. What one thing would you say to us, to my pastor now, that this is one thing you should get your team to do so they can write great songs like Glowreeyah Braimah has?
Stay in the presence of God. Stay there. Open your eyes up to different things happening. Grow, learn. Go for conferences. Listen to other people. There's just so much, because I find out that it takes one step after another step, one revelation after another revelation. If you're here and I'm here, you see this table here, what you're seeing is your own perspective. What I see is my own perspective. But if I keep going around, you see another side of a table and you see the other side of a table. So the more we keep going, the more we keep growing, the more we keep seeing and getting more of God. And the more of God we see, the more of him that is revealed, the more he wants to reveal himself, and he shows forth, and then we pour it out.
Glowreeyah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.